Hey, how's it going, universe? Welcome to another episode of Zoobox Goes to the Library. I'm your host, Shaun, and is with me, as always, during Goes to the Library, is Big Paul. How's it going, Big Paul?
What's up, buddy?
Oh, we are ready and raring, everybody. We got a book that you've never heard of today, that only maybe 10 people have heard of, Big Paul and I being two of them. We're going to be checking out and talking about Simon Fay's People in Season. This is published back in 2016, so it's a newer novel. This is a self-published book. He's a self-published author. We found out about him through YouTube, actually.
Yep.
Paul found him. What do you remember the name of his YouTube channel?
Sure do. Content Lit.
Content Lit. And we found him because we were talking about Kubrick movies, and he did some videos about Kubrick that were actually really good. They were sharp, well-produced, interesting. I don't think he does much anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, he's just one of these people, like, just like, I don't know, like Zoobox or something, that, that just a full of very talented people making good content that just doesn't get seen, unfortunately. No. And that's one of the reasons why we originally actually wanted to profile him, because we thought, like, oh, this would be a cool way we like this guy. Let's see what he's got as an author, and we can talk about it and maybe draw more people towards his work.
Absolutely.
So this is his second book. The first book we read was called Bulk, which was about a female bodybuilder and all of her domestic problems. And we kind of liked that book. I think we came away with a pretty positive thing. It's a very rich character study. And I remember really enjoying it for what it was, Yeah. It was a nice, like, kind of sojourn into something. And we had been on the back of a few other books we were reading around the same time. I think we read Hell of a Book around the same time.
Yeah.
Which was a fucking chore. But anyways, that brings us to People in Season. The logline plot synopsis is: the untouched psychopathic personality types banned from professions where they could do harm. Agent Mullen is a man tasked with rooting out these dangerous social contaminants. Assigned to the newsroom of Dublin's most popular media service, he has to be careful when he meets Ava O'Dwyer, a woman who's prepared to begin a game where seduction, deceit, and murder are all fair play. Winner of the Irish Writers' Centre Novel Fair, People in Season by Simon Fay is a darkly compelling tale that you won't be able to put down. So, Big Paul.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to go first?
Absolutely. Right.
Give us your general impressions before we jump into the book. Let's just give our 5-minute little reviews.
Yeah, well, my first impression was like, man, he must really have a disdain for federal employees, or maybe he has a federal job. Maybe old Simon Fay is a government employee somewhere.
Yeah.
Some of these things were raised with some deep. It felt like some specific hatred, for a certain type of people and a certain type of employment. But overall though, like I enjoyed it. It was a quick read, pretty easy to read. I think we'll get more to it, like in the story, and like how he wrote it out. But overall, like I enjoyed following along with it, and comparatively to like other things I've been listening to, this kind of like stood out probably more for me than it did for you. But overall, like I did enjoy this book. Okay,
that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I am definitely a little bit more sour on it than you are. I kind of was shocked to find out this was the second novel, because I thought Bulk was so better written.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of like, because when I was reading it, I'm like, oh, this is his first novel, so that makes sense that there's, it's a little rough around the edges. But it's not. It's his second one. But he's self-published, so I have no idea when he wrote these. I don't know what order he wrote these books or these stories. Who knows?
Sure.
But I really liked the concept. I really liked a lot of the ideas that it kind of brings up. I didn't really enjoy the book that much because I thought it was very obvious and very kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of just plain. It was just kind of it's very plot heavy. It's all about the plot. Yeah. The characters I didn't think were very well drawn. Like, I wish I knew more about who they were so I could have cared about them, like, at all. What it reminded me of is like network television from like 2012, or BBC shows that are like kind of murder mysteries, things like that are kind of high concept, and you might have like one famous actor who's like the lead or something like that. I'm trying to think of it like there's Getting Away with Murder. Is that a show? That's a show, right? With what's her name? Viola Davis. Viola Davis is in it.
Yeah, but I think it's more like akin to like a blacklist or something. It's kind of like what you're talking about, like that kind of vibe, that kind of energy.
Sure, yeah. So that's what it kind of read to me, almost like a pitch for a show, because of how. And I don't mean this in a mean way or in a bad way or necessarily, but it's just kind of shallow.
No,
It
but yeah,
is.
but you're saying it's like a turn your head off and like enjoy, like
I think
there's
you totally could. Yeah. I
yeah.
think like there's enough like intriguing stuff. I think if you're, especially if you're not very familiar with mystery novels, like I think you'll be kind of have fun with the mystery itself. But maybe it's just one of those things. Is I've read too many books, I've seen too many movies. I actually probably pull from the same points of reference that this person does. I think we're probably around the same age.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of just very familiar with what he's working with and what he's kind of getting at and addressing. And I thought, like, in comparison to Bulk is such like you really understand the characters in Bulk. Like you really understand the female bodybuilder and her husband. Like you really get into their heads and like kind of understand where they're coming from and the pathologizing they've done and all that. I never really felt that with any of the characters in this book, so that was definitely detracted from it for me because I think character first, always character first. Characters should kind of inform the plot. The plot should not inform your characters. And when I thought like the characters here were kind of because even the characters themselves would do things that felt weird. You're like, oh, well, they're doing that because they have to do that because we need to get to this plot point to make the mystery kind of make sense, etc. But anyways, so that's my kind of just brief review of it. I'm definitely obviously more sour on it than Paul, but I'm glad to jump into some of this stuff because I do think it brings up a lot of cool. There's a lot of cool ideas.
It's really, yeah, no, it's a cool concept and it's a cool world, and it's like a lot of it isn't explicit with like some of the semi like futuristic, like some self-driving cars. That's kind of cool. It's not in your face. Oh, we have these self-driving cars. It's brought
Yeah.
up that this technology exists in in passing through conversation. The same thing with like the windows being frosted and like
Hmm.
some like little tech they have there, make use of the tablets, and then the technology they use to find who the untouched are. And just like we don't dive in and recap like plots or anything, but just for like a little context for this conversation in this world. Uh, there's a group of people called Untouched, and they're basically psychopaths. And it's such a problem in society that the government has established a special agency to go ahead and find people that have like unfettered access to any organization to weed these people out and make sure that these untouched identified personnel are not in positions of influence. So they shouldn't be doctors and police, anything that where they can harm people. And the main area with this focus for this novel is in a popular media outlet facility, and that's where we're getting brought in here.
It's actually basically Gawker, which
Got
this was actually Gawker was happening around this time, like a couple years before
HuffPo,
this.
yeah, oh, yeah,
HuffPo, Gawker, like kind
yeah.
of
Like all
a
the type,
gossip rag, a
right, right,
gossip editorial. Yeah.
right. But no, but I think it's interesting. You said like about the characters, man. Like like you want to hop into that real quick, or is there something
Yeah,
burning
of
off your
course.
chest there?
No, no, no.
So I want to go on with Buried Danger. When it sounds like first it
Actually,
sounds
my
like
favorite
important.
character.
Yeah, yeah,
My favorite character.
yeah. We should for movies we should do like secret MVPs. So
Hmm.
if this was the movie that it kind of like read right, like Barry Danger, assuming it was casted well, definitely be the secret MVP for that.
Yeah.
But no, it, like sounds like part of it, just complete weasel, right? Complete weasel. And but you think there's enough of that? Like because there weren't really any throwaway characters in here too, so I thought it was
No,
pretty
it's a
clean.
very tight cast, and that's
Very
kind of what I
tight.
mean about. I was very kind of surprised how underdeveloped I found them because we know a lot about their present circumstance, but we don't know a lot about them as people very much. Like, why are they the people that they are today? What motivates them? Like, especially when you get into the stuff with the detective, like the book is backloaded with the things I wish I knew a little bit more about that going, like, because they reference it a little bit. They touch on the strange, like he might be becoming estranged from his family, etc. I would have loved it to get into that more. What drives a person to want to be one of these social agents? How does that happen? What's the history of the social agents? Like, how did this develop? What is the methodology behind finding an untouched person? Like, I wish it was more about the process. Because if it was more about the process, then I have a way to juxtapose or understand how somebody could subvert it or fall
You know,
victim to it. If it's nebulous,
you
then
don't
it
think
kind of
that'd be
doesn't
kind of
matter.
right? Do you don't think that'd be kind of boring though? Go into like the pseudo psychology of how they detect an untouched person?
No, at all. No, because that is what the book is kind of about. Is like, is this worthwhile? Because clearly, spoiler alert, everybody, it gets subverted. It gets somebody beats the system. Well, I don't know anything about the fucking system, so how the fuck? Why is it impressive that they beat it? What does that actually mean? Who is in on it? Who isn't? Is this just human failure,
Well,
etc.?
let's keep on the characters. So you just brought up like the agents, right? So then the first social agent, the agents employed by the government to
Francis
find out this.
Mullins.
Yeah, Agent Mullen, like the sad, sloppy, like government employee type. They were the way he writes them was just like, man, he is pulling from somebody from real life here. Like,
Oh, see, because I thought like because he's a pathetic character, right?
right,
Like he's supposed to be pathetic, but I think he's trying to like be empathetic towards him because that character is a social outcast because of what he does for a living, and he makes no connections with other human beings outside of screening
right.
them.
But
So so
when you
that's what kind of
infer from a
that's
social agent what they do for a living, they're fucking narcs and they can wreck your
yes.
fucking world.
No, that's
So
what I'm saying.
right,
So choosing to do that is an alienating thing. It isolates you. And clearly, Francis Mullen, when we come to him in the story, is having problems with that. Now, I don't think the book does a very good job of illustrating that that's what's happening. But because I'm an adult man with an adult brain, or so I'm told, I kind of can figure that out. I wish that there was more exploration of those things in that character. Like, make him a character. Like, make him well rounded. Don't just tell me that he goes home and jerks off. Like, who cares? Okay, he's
well,
pathetic. He's a
I
sin.
do. I do. I need to know the cum rate that a guy has if he's contributing to a story. This
Hey,
guy's
listen, we've all been there, dude. We
not
all
cum
jerk
rate,
off
then
to women at the office.
I don't need then do I even know anything about him? And the fact that he chose to cum to Ava O'Dwyer, then like okay,
No, but
all right,
what you could have used his character for. Now, and this is in poor taste. You should not talk about the book you wish it was rather than what it is. But they could have used his character to explain what a social agent really is and the history of it through him. I'm not talking about an
we
exposition
get a
dump where you
little
just read it. Not a
juxtaposition of the
Not a
work he
Herman
did.
Melville. Hold on. Not a Herman Melville style exposition dump. Personalize it through that character so that we understand better. And I think about the process thing. You think you kind of infer that it would be boring to go through that stuff, but why? That's the whole premise of the book is how to figure out who is a psychopath. And then also in tandem with that, it's also kind of then you can get into the conversation about like, well, is actually labeling somebody a psychopath giving them permission to act like a psychopath? Would they have engaged in this behavior if they didn't feel like they were untouched, right? Because that's the thing with Ava and Alistair, the doctor, is that they give themselves permission to be psychos because they think they're untouched. Like they rationalize it in that way. They're like, well, we're untouched. We're like subversive people. Yeah, we know that. So this is why we're going to do what we do, because through the character of Ava, you're supposed to kind of sense a little bit of conflict, I felt. Like, is she really untouched? Or is she just kind of taking advantage of something? What does it actually mean to be untouched? I know part of the point is the nebulous nature of it, because it is kind of dealing, like you said, like bureaucracy, the government. Right. It got involved to solve a problem only to create more, right? Like, which
Right.
is
Every time the government gets involved, they make it worse, and inevitably gets corrupt, like everything else, right? And so we deal with that. So okay, you didn't think Agent Mullen, the catalyst of the story, but like, I don't know. I guess I don't really see him needing to be like more of a backstory to kind of push like what was going on, because you're just kind of following this flow, this cluster of like several organizations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dubious things happen within this media organization. The agency, the untouched agency, is getting involved to weed out somebody else. We don't find out later on like how they got involved in there, but that's what's really happened here. So to me, like what I gathered from that was that like Fay wasn't really going for like this. The book is really about like this process or want to like
No, it's not.
about this concept is just kind of getting you through a thriller of here's the world, the context of this world. Even that's a cool point. That's a cool like concept, but he's really trying to convey like this like cat and mouse like thriller to it.
Yes.
So
Which I didn't find the cat and mouse stuff very compelling, I guess would be kind of maybe that's why it didn't work for me. Because I didn't find that stuff very compelling. I kind of like I kind of just didn't understand why some of the things that were like, especially when it came to the detective, I just was really struggling with like, well, why aren't you just being a detective? Like, why aren't you going with your intuitions? Why is there this thing that like people are? Well, I guess it goes into the bureaucracy thing where they're just like, oh, you waste people's time and money.
His boss hates him. Let's get into Detective Wong, which
That's fair.
I couldn't stop thinking about fucking
David Wong. Yep.
I
David
like,
Wong.
yeah, this book was better. So apples and oranges, but whatever.
It was.
Would you say this is more character development than John dies at the end?
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. That was facetious, rhetorical, whatever that combination of words would be. You're a smart guy. But yeah, Detective Wong, though, that's our blue collar, every guy thing in there, right? That the one we want, like the only one that like some sanity, the only like human, really.
Yeah, but he's also pathetic. He's also a pathetic loser.
And also is also another like product of the environment, another like collateral damage of a system.
That's fair.
Right?
That's
thrown in here, right? And like
that's fair.
We get just get brought into it, right? So this so I don't know. I enjoyed Detective Wong. I enjoyed Detective Wong, and in like in like little anecdote thing, there's like some things they expressed in there. I was just like, shit, that hits. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's because of your life is informing how you feel about some of this stuff, whereas mine isn't, right? Like, so I'm not connecting with it in the same way that you are, obviously, right?
Right, but that's like, but I don't know that from that character standpoint though. Like, I enjoyed Detective Long. What do you think about Boss Bitch Joanne, the editor? She was like Devil Wears Prada, like kind of that one. I'll give you that. Like that, there was nothing to that bitch. There's nothing to that bitch.
Well, okay, all right, hold on. What's your favorite character trait of Detective Wong?
Of Detective Wong?
Yeah, describe him in a sentence to me.
Oh, I just did it from the top of it. The struggling everyman, blue collar hero. Well, maybe hero is very, very, very too strong.
Oh, no, there's no heroes, Paul.
But that is
it's all gray.
That is like an everyday thing. Like, who does not realize the system that they're in, willingly and unwillingly, and like realize the utter helplessness that they can't change anything, and what can they actually do? So it's a bit like of despair. And so I guess like the same, I like him in the traditional concept. Says I like him because he had this great sense. I enjoyed this character because like I get what he was representing, and like.
And what does he decide to do at the end, Paul?
Oh, well, he decides to be a pussy, and like
he decides to give up.
Yeah, he decides to be a pussy and go like make his marriage work, whatever. Like
no, it's not. It's not even. No, he just decides to give up. He just decides to be like, yeah, I know this is wrong. I know these bad things are happening, but bad things happen, and I have my own life. I got to take care of this. Well, then you shouldn't have been a cop. He should quit. I hope he quits the force.
Well, he is. That's what he's telling.
No, he's not. He's talking about going to a different department.
Yeah,
stop it.
A department where you don't have to do detective shit and do this stuff because they don't want him there anymore. He doesn't want to do it, and his family doesn't want to do it. So good for Detective Wong. Good for Detective Wong, and I hope he still goes every month to get salmon from that child killer. Anyways,
of course, of course,
Simon. We read the book, damn it. Okay, we're talking.
What's his? I can't remember his last name. Dr. Alistair, the one that Ava's having an affair with. He was like a cartoon villain, who's like just barely not twirling his mustache, being like tee hee hee, and like running around committing crime.
Yeah, it was like Jason Bateman from Wish.com or Timo or whatever the kids say these days, right? That's what it was. He's like, I'm so fucking hot. I wear this Rolex. I can kill you, bitch. Yeah. If I look in the mirror while I'm fucking you from behind. Like
Because
that's
he's like, it's a Patrick Bateman stand-in. He's like that facsimile of Patrick Bateman.
yeah.
A psychopath that everybody recognizes from literary history, from the movies, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Although I do like that they brought up this idea through Alistair and through Ava of the social castes that were exist in this dystopian future, and how much disdain they have, which has basically been like, oh, people that feel this way are psychopaths. People that, because they have a lot of class animosity, we'll call it. You know, especially displayed in the scene when they're walking by. Because this is another thing, and it's, you know, it's a young writer thing. He's like, oh, I have this idea, so I'm going to bring it up 3 pages before, then I'm going to execute it on it, and then kind of let it go. But I got it out. It's when he attacks the taxi driver, he smashes his window with his shoe.
right.
And then, you know, because of the conversation they were having about these disgusting, lazy fucking people that are apathetic and nobody fucking works. People are sleeping on the job. This whole world's going to hell. You know, he's trying to make a caricature of people that like care about things like that, because that's not like sensitive and cool. You know,
Right.
it's better to be a fucking loser than care about anything, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't have anything to say about Joanne, but then you just mentioned Ava O'Dwyer. What'd you think of
well, Joanne, just briefly, Joanne is she's there for the plot. She's a plot mechanic. Like, that's what she is.
plot. She is the whole catalyst that gets everything going.
Yes.
She's
And Ava O'Dwyer is probably the most developed character, but I still feel like I don't really know much about her other than the fact that she thinks she's a psychopath and that she's being intentionally subversive and trying to get Joanne's job.
Yeah, well, the whole novel is her, like, the actions of her, like, putting the coup in place, the corporate coup in place.
Well, yeah, that's the big reveal, is that she's been setting all this up to frame Joanne so that she could like step into this position of authority.
Right.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't like any single fucking person in this book, like, at all. And part of that, and I know you disagree, but
not even
well, maybe the landlord, who is right, by the way, which the book like takes a second to like castigate him for being like, because he's like, yeah, I told the family of Mullen's family that they could take their time to come get his things, but I really should have set a date because I need to like get this back out there. And they look, oh, what a disgusting, inhumane person. I was like, fuck you. The guy is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why is he disgusting? Because he's like, yeah, somebody died in there, and I was trying to be nice and let the family come collect the stuff on their own time, and they haven't fucking picked it up yet. I should have put a date in there. That's a perfectly reasonable thing.
Oh, and a very human thing to say too. Just out loud, saying your thoughts out loud. I should have put a date out there because they fucking haven't come by yet. And maybe they never will because he seems.
Yeah, but Faye Faye treats him like a bad person. They like David Wong or Dylan Wong, excuse me. Dylan Wong comments on him. He makes reference to the fact how disgusting it is that this man would do this. He would say such a thing. You know, really?
Huh.
Like, because that's Simon Fay revealing the fact that he's a guy from Dublin, Ireland. You see what's going on Ireland, dude?
No.
You see what the intelligentsia has been up to in Ireland?
Yeah.
They're literally losing their country. But and that's actually part of this book too, is immigration with David Wong. He's you know, that is brought up. The new Ireland.
Yeah. David Wong.
Oh no, Dylan Wong. I keep saying David. It's Dylan.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Did you even read the book, bro? Did you even read the book?
I read the fucking book, pal.
I got the hard copy right here. I got the receipts. I got the proof.
I don't. I got it on my phone.
I
do have. I could probably bring it up, and it'll bring up my Goodreads, because that's what it like brings up when you finish a book.
Right.
I declined.
Yeah. Yeah, but you didn't like Barry Danger at all?
No, I did. That was my favorite character because he's such a cunt. Like, he's just funny.
Yeah.
He's just a cunty character. But he's also a plot mechanic. Like, he's not really a character. He's an affectation. He wears a silly suit. He's got a bobblehead. He's kind of a news guy. He's a little bit full of himself. He's in competition in the newsroom like everybody else is. He's got it out for Ava. That's him. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But I think with that cast there too. Like I said, like it wasn't like like mind blowing, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. It was a fun read, and it was a fun story. And then
Dude, but that's what's frustrating about it, Paul, is that like it touches on a lot of very interesting things. Even when it talks about narrative control, media manipulation, how that comports to like our regular lives too. As we consume all this shit, we become just like the things we're consuming. But it doesn't.
yeah,
I just wish it got into that stuff more. I guess that's my wish. That's what I would have liked to have read, because I find those things fascinating, and for people to explore them in stories is fascinating. It's a good way to have that conversation through fiction. There was something else too. Oh, one other thing they mentioned really early in the book that I was like super stoked when they brought it up, because I was like, oh, this is really cool, because I've been thinking about this a lot. How media is hyper individualized to the point that nobody shares the same reality anymore. Like everything is catered to you almost on an individual level, and we're
oh
losing connection to each other. We're losing connection to each other because we no longer have the same touchstones. We're not all listening to the same music. We're not all seeing the same movies like we were 20 years ago. Right? There's just too much shit.
right.
And it does kind of talk about that a little bit in terms of Ava and her understanding of how media works and how she manipulates it. Or she attempts to manipulate it, rather.
Right. Well, successfully does. So.
Yeah, by the end, yes.
Yeah. 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 But no, it was a good House of Cards ish. I like it. Let's take it.
Yeah, House of Cards a little bit.
Yeah, I enjoy this stuff. At the end of the day, I just want to be entertained. And yeah, could they have gone deeper in the paint with some of the concepts and whatnot? Yeah, yeah, sure. We're all Monday morning quarterbacking at some point. No, but
Hey,
no, but
motherfucker.
I see what you're saying though too, and but I wouldn't say that they were paper thin characters. I thought there's enough in there for me at least for this read for this experience. But
And that's
like
fair. And that's
overall,
totally
yeah,
that's totally cool.
but overall though, like so we're 2/3 out of the Simon Fay trilogy, and because he's a Mick and a writer and he makes bangers on YouTube. We both decided when we read Bulk, all right, we'll do the rest. We'll do the rest. So we're 2/3 done with the Simon Fay
Oh,
trilogy.
I'm committed. I'm committed.
Yeah,
I want to see it all the way through. Like I said before, like I actually really respect. Actually, I don't know if I said this in the recording, so I'll say it now. I really respect anybody that does this themselves for the joy of doing it and puts it out there to the world.
yeah, yeah,
I really have a ton of respect, because so many people, so many of us are frustrated artists, writers, etc., and we never finish things, right? We start a lot of shit, but we don't see it all the way through. So I have an immense amount of respect for somebody that's able to do that. And like I said, I don't think he's like a bad writer. I wish that he kept writing, because you could see that this guy could. I think he could get there. I don't know if he's given himself the opportunity, or maybe he's writing under a pen name now. I don't know. I don't know anything about him,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I am looking forward to the next book. I think it's called Inviolate.
Yep. Yeah,
I
it's
think.
Violet. And hopefully, I don't know, because I mean, this is so radically different than Bulk. So I'm optimistic for
Well,
this one.
but I kept going back to Bulk in my mind, because I was really taken with like the care that he took with those characters, and I understand fundamentally it's a different thing. Bulk is a character study. It is literally about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
This is more about a mystery. It's a different form. It's a different genre. It requires different things. So I'm curious what he gets up to with. It's called Icon Violet. This came out only, I believe, a few months, like a week after the last one we read, or this one, People in Season.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely curious. I'm definitely curious to see what he gets up to with that. Yeah, and I just wish it was a little richer. I mean, it's a short book. It's a quick read.
Yeah.
Part of that is part of the deal with it. Like it is a short. It's a little ephemeral. It's probably a little forgettable. I don't know how much. Although I'll say this though, the ideas have stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless how I felt about like maybe the execution of it, it did give me some food for thought. I just wish that he gave me a little bit more there. I just wish there was a little more to chew on, and because I could see myself really enjoying something like this.
Right.
And I'm not a big fan of contemporary fiction either, so that's also kind of probably works against it in my tastes.
Right.
I read a lot of stuffy things, philosophy books, shit like that. Like I'm not reading a lot of contemporary fiction in my free time.
Yeah. I I dabble a lot like with that, but and then also too, I was in the mindset of like because we got off of Moby Dick, and we're going to go do was it Crime and Punishment next.
Crime and Punishment, which we'll talk about after
Yeah,
this.
we wanted the light one to get into, and this was on the credit. So I was in
No,
the
in that sense, it
right
served
mindset.
its purpose. It served its purpose in that way, and it's always good. Like like I said, I really like supporting independent writers, artists, whatever. I've given lots of money to people that have produced nothing. Like I said about people that start things and don't finish them. I've
Were you still
definitely
doing
backed a
monthly
few.
donations to that other Irish dude? Oh, what the fuck is his name? The other guy does really good Kubrick movie breakdowns.
Oh, Rob Ager,
Yeah, Ager.
Papa Ager. I've given Ager plenty of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's gotten lazy though. Ager's gotten so lazy. Now he's like me. He's just like turns on his camera and talks. There's no editing. There's nothing. I'm like, buddy, I paid $7 for this. I'm like, I put my shit out for free. Like, there's a reason. I don't make any money off it. I can't monetize it. So this is just for me. But I paid $7 for this, dude. Like, cut in some shit. He's become very close to the Kubrick estate, actually.
No
A couple years ago, he got access to the Kubrick archives at Kubrick's house, and since then, he's become kind of come friends with some of the living collaborators of Kubrick.
No kidding.
Yeah, he actually spoke, I think, at a big Kubrick conference that was like a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure where it was. Might have been in Germany.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for Ager.
I keep up with Papa Ager. I don't agree with him as much anymore, but his more recent analysis have been a little boomerish.
Dude.
But I do enjoy his body of work though. Like the stuff is Doctor Strangelove stuff is incredible.
His breakdowns on like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Predator it blew my mind.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
I had no idea how deep that movie was until Papa Ager broke it down, and I was like, "This is like the best thing ever made."
Hey, dude, Predator is one of my all-time favorite movies. This is a top 10. That's a top 10 for me. I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, but enough about that Irish dude. Simon Fay is the Irish dude you should check out. Content lit.
Yeah, I'll leave a links to his stuff in the comments and description if people want to go check it out. I suggest that you do. I don't think that he's active, but he's got an archive. He's got a body of work, and it's good stuff. It's really good stuff, and that's that. I mean, it was good enough that we bought his books. Yeah. Like we bought these books off of the back of those videos. So, he's a smart, thoughtful person, and he's worth supporting in that way, whether or not he continues to work, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, you have any closing thoughts on People in Season, sir?
No, it's like I said, if you like that, House of Cards, Blacklist, that type of vibe, that type of entertainment, this is the book for you. It's good, like light read. I read a bulk of it on the train earlier this week too, so it's good, it's fun. Don't listen to Sean; he's a naysayer. Zubak does a lot of Christmas movies, and I'm like the Grinch over that time of the year. So I guess he's just going to be the Grinch when in this.
Well, I have to. I'm also Irish, so I just have to give him some of that Irish truth.
Yeah,
that Irish ribbon.
Someone who is unfortunately more Irish than Sean. Let me tell you.
I know, dude. Look at my potato face. There's no denying it. There's no.
I got the dinner. I deny it all the time. So.
Who, me? No, I'm Italian.
Oh no. Are you kidding?
No, they're worse. Who would you have to be though? Like, who would you want to fake pretend to be? I don't know, because
I really hate everybody. So it's.
I know that's what I was thinking too.
Can't go Polish. I just traveled to Japan recently, and I realized that I hate the French even in Japan. So
French suck.
No matter where I am in the world, French people suck. I don't know what it is. Croatians.
What about Japanese? What about be a Japanese man?
Dude, so maybe
I think you could lie.
Like a Japanese redneck. They exist out there.
They do.
In the country. Yeah, probably. But the city Japanese, they're too perverted, man. They're too silly.
It's a nation of Coomers. They're actually literally having a problem with the Coomerism in Japan. It's literally a problem.
Well, dude, when you walk down Tokyo and you see 4D virtual reality porn with their like dude, it's like they're
Hold on. Let me finish the sentence here. When you're walking down the street of Japan and there's 4D sensopod porn, you're just bummed that your kid's with you.
Yeah,
Dude, if you and I went to Japan, I'm sorry, I probably would have insisted, and then I would have called my wife and told her how cool it was.
I mean, what? You're 14? Yeah. Today's the day you're going to be a man.
Yeah, that's right. It's the new taking your son to a whorehouse.
We'll do it the Oliver Stone, method. I'll get you a massage. Massage.
Yeah.
Massage. Yeah.
Listen, if it's good enough for Sean Stone, it's good enough for your son. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, let me tell you.
It's just the modern equivalent of taking your son to a whorehouse and to turn him into a man or whatever happens. I don't know. My dad didn't do that for me, and look how I turned out. Maybe he should have taken me to a whorehouse. He had opportunities. We did go to Mexico.
Yeah, I was going to say he took you to Mexico, and that's on you, buddy. That's on you.
That is on me. It is on me. But anyways, so my closing thoughts of the book. Listen, I think it's worth checking out. There's a lot of cool ideas in it, even if I am a little bit more sour on it than Paul is. I don't think it's bad per se. It just depends how familiar you are with this kind of stuff and what you're looking for out of a book, essentially. If you're looking for something that's more of a deep dive, a little bit more philosophical, that's not for you. If you are the type of person that you enjoy, like Paul was saying, listing off some of those television shows, I think that is about right. It's like a passive, kind of not totally trashy, but very contemporary novel. Just felt very of the time it was written.
Yeah.
And yeah, but check out Simon Fay. Check him out.
Absolutely.
Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next time with another book. We don't know what it is yet. We'll talk about it. Adios. Goodbye. We're done. Definitely not retweet it. And let all the world know about who you really are. An untouched, Paul. An untouched.
I am an untouched.
Unsavory character.
Well, at the end of the day, we're all untouched.
Just a little bit. Well, sometimes, yeah. It's kind of sad.
Well, I know when we were kids, we were definitely touched. But in the context of people in the season, we weren't kind of touched. Untouched.
I can't believe I didn't get...
God damn it.
I can't believe I didn't get molested more as a kid. I was a pretty cute kid.
I was.
They missed their chance.
Mm-hmm. If I wasn't fucked up enough now as an adult,
I mean, we're just not fucked up enough to even be able to claim some sort of status for our problems. So we just have to silently suffer. But if we had been molested more, we could have really cashed in on that.
Really could have. I'm just dozed off, still thinking about all the opportunities I could have been molested. You know how many camps I went to? You know how many camps we went to? Like, holy shit. We were like...
And we barely got molested. Barely.
Not a single person. Fuck. Is it us? Was it us? God. Now I feel like that episode of South Park, Mr. Garrison. He's like, Dad, why did you never molest me?
Yeah. Oh my God. That's right. Yeah. Did you love me? I was a hot ass kid.